Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to season 14, episode 29, overall 744 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles, EVs, as well as their Cadillac vehicles. And also check out their trucks, too. They have some of the best trucks out there as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. Good afternoon, everybody, on this Sunday, August 2nd, 2026. It's a little bit cooler here in Ontario, around 19-20 Celsius today, around 68, and we've gotten some much needed rain today as well. The weather to me is fine. I don't mind this, except for my allergies. I have allergies, and usually May and August with the pollen and the grass, that usually gets me done as well. And by the way, this is my 6th show in 7 days, and I'm looking forward to my guest today. She's got an amazing story herself, and I'm very lucky to have her on. And she is from the great state of Georgia, or known as the Peach State. And we're going to bring her on one moment. She is a realtor in Georgia. She is a keynote speaker. She's a U.S. Army veteran, and she is also a cancer survivor as well. And we're going to bring on Realtor Brandi Benson right now. Good afternoon, Brandi. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to share my story, a little sprinkle of real estate, and to just be here overall. I think it's an amazing opportunity to be on your show. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's the guests that make a great show, and I've been very fortunate the last 7 years to have so many wonderful guests on, and I just love what I'm doing, and I can see how passionate you are about being a real estate realtor as well, and also serving your country, the U.S. Army, and being a keynote speaker, and also a cancer survivor too.
Absolutely.
How are things in the state of Georgia right now?
I guess it all just depends on if you're looking at it from what perspective, like real estate perspective, or just in general.
I would say
it's extremely hot right now.
Yes, it was here today until today. We had a storm last night, and that got rid of the humidity, and it's the temperatures dropped, so it's around 68 right now. But I'm not complaining. 68 and rainy is okay with me.
Yeah, I'm not too big on the rain, but I do like the warm weather. Just in general, Georgia is extremely hot here. I feel like it's a very hot place, probably one of the hottest places that I've lived. So I don't mind it, but yeah, it can get really hot. Right now, it's probably in the 90s. I live in Conyers, so it's not too bad, but it's definitely not, the time to be walking your dog or anything like that.
By the way, I used to have a radio show done remotely from here in Ontario on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia.
You told me that. I know. Yes. I want to talk to you about that. I think maybe there might be some sort of collaboration we can do, or maybe some introductions. I think that'd be great.
Yes, I'm working to either get back onto radio or to continue to build my own brand. So in a way, I'm kind of learning the business side of media too.
Amazing. Amazing.
And I already have a comment on here. I got a gentleman on YouTube. It's
Mhm.
almost time on YouTube. He just says, "Can't wait to hear this today." Brandi is an exceptional talent, a veteran, a realtor, and an advocate. This is going to be good. And I do agree. Your story is amazing. And I really appreciate you being patient with me and coming on today.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I can't wait too. I'm excited.
I wanted to ask you, are you able to tell our audience a little bit about yourself? And are you originally from the state of Georgia?
Yeah, so as you know, I'm Brandi Benson Hicks. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, a 17-year Ewing sarcoma cancer survivor. I'm a keynote speaker, a published author, and now my newest venture right now is a Realtor here in Georgia. I'm not originally from Georgia. I'm originally from the West Coast, so California, specifically the San Francisco Bay Area. But throughout my life, I've definitely learned that my greatest setbacks can definitely come from your greatest purposes, if you allow them, specifically. But some of my biggest influences have been people who have taught me resiliency, like integrity and service. And the military definitely shaped my discipline. Of course, cancer shaped my perspective. And I think all the incredible mentors that I've had in my life and my career just really taught me the importance of putting people first. And that's where I've kind of just thrived in everything in every aspect of my life. I'm always advocating for people, putting them first. And I think like my love language is acts of service. So everything's just kind of lining up perfectly for me right now.
Who are some of your early influences and mentors in your life early on?
Mm, mentors. Gosh, I think my mom has always been a really big mentor or like a hero or a shero in my life. I don't know about any mentors specifically because growing up I didn't really have any mentors, but did have somebody to look up to. It was definitely my mother, but she just taught me about the importance of hard work, um, staying positive no matter what it looks like. Just focus on whatever the end goal is, whether that's surviving something, that is getting a degree in something, getting your certification, and just knowing that whatever that journey presents to you or for you, that you just got to stick with that goal, and no matter what, always be optimistic. And so I'm extremely positive, delusional, optimistic person, and I feel like it has really worked out in my life for sure.
How important is it having a good mindset, willpower, and support system in your life?
Oh my gosh, I think that is extremely important. Specifically, when you're going through a hard time, you want to have somebody there who is challenging whatever the narrative is. So, for example, for me, when I was going through my cancer experience, the doctors or the medical professionals, they said I had a year left to live. They said that the cancer was going to spread to my lungs, my brain, and my spinal cord. They were going to have to amputate my left leg at my, all the way up at my hip. So I had a really grim prognosis, and they thought I was going to die. They gave me a year to live, but I had somebody there kind of challenging the narrative. And yes, there's statistics, but behind those statistics, there's people, we're not just a number, there's family, there's a life that's living, trying to be lived and fought for. So I think it's just really important that we don't group ourselves into these statistics because those are just numbers. That's the past. That's what happened. That could be like a prediction for you, but it doesn't have to define who you are and what's going to be happening in your life. And having a support system that, again, can challenge the narrative of what you've been given and talk positivity and speak life into you and, challenge you to do and fight, I think is a key attribute in every part of life. That's in business, that's in your relationships, that's in surviving something, going through something such as cancer. So I just I just know that having a support system there for you that is a positive one, um, it can be life saving because that's exactly what happened to me.
Brandi, for those people that are watching our show right now, live stream or later on audio platforms, there's somebody out there going through a difficult time, health issue, or even going through cancer. What
Mhm.
advice would you give to them from your experience?
Um, my advice for people, I would definitely say be your own advocate. Ask as many questions as you can. Also, find a support system, right? Whether that's online, where it's social media, different types of Facebook groups, or if that is, joining a support group, whatever that looks like, getting therapy. I also feel like that's extremely important. But I do feel like finding somebody that has the same kind of cancer as you would be like ideal, so you can ask the questions, what type of things that you could look forward to, not that you're looking forward to, but what type of symptoms are there that I might experience, or what did you experience and how did you handle that. I just feel like really having somebody in your corner that knows what's going on and they've already been there and they're doing well and they're still alive and they have a healthy, prosperous life. I feel like that just gives people hope that even though you have this grim prognosis or this disease or this challenge in your life, you can get over it because look at what this person did.
Can you tell our audience a little bit about your battle with cancer and being a 17-year survivor of the rare and aggressive Ewing sarcoma? And can you
Yeah.
tell our audience a little more about Ewing sarcoma?
Yeah, so Ewing sarcoma is a rare and aggressive cancer. Normally, it starts in the bone. So it starts in the bone, but it can also be in the soft tissue. So it can also, besides the soft tissue, it's in the limbs. So it's your legs, your arms. It could be in your ribs as well. So it's the limb kind of areas in the body. Has great chances of it reoccurring. When you discover this cancer early, you have a better chance of survival and making it past the 5-year mark, which is what people really they want to have. The later on in the stages, the less chances, of course. That's just what science says. But again, anybody and anything can happen for somebody. But yeah, so I had this cancer. I was deployed in Iraq when I discovered it. It was in 2009. And while I was there, I was, experienced extreme fatigue, and that's one of the symptoms. And this type of cancer is a solid tumor cancer, so you'll see a bulge somewhere, in the whatever area that it has affected or kind of taken over. But I discovered a lump in my leg, and at first I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what this lump was lit, and I didn't even know that you could get cancer in your leg. That is not something I thought could happen because when you're watching TV, or what we've kind of been exposed to is brain cancer, lung cancer, stomach cancer, all of those, breast cancer, stuff like that. So I didn't know you could get it in your leg. So when I discovered it, I've went to the doctors, and then I got my diagnosis, and that's when they kind of told me about what I could expect and what my life expectancy was going to be. Thank goodness they were definitely wrong about that. But yeah, it's a very rare cancer. It's usually in Caucasian young little boys, and when I got diagnosed with it, I thought definitely they had the wrong person because I'm African American, I was a woman, and I was 24. So I was like, this is impossible. Like, I don't even fit the demographic of this type of tumor. So this can't even be correct. But it ended up being right. And 17 years later, I'm here, and I've been advocating, spreading awareness about rare diseases, specifically sarcoma. And it has been a whirlwind, but something I would never trade the world for.
Can you tell us about the surgery aspect and the chemotherapy and how much it shrank it?
Yeah. So when I first arrived at this hospital, I was at Walter Reed Medical Center, is where I got all of my treatment at, and I was an inpatient at this location for 10 months. So the cancer originally was like the size of a large, like a small, we'll say like a small watermelon. I don't know if you have those in Canada, but they're like pretty small
Yeah.
watermelons. So it was like that size in my adductor muscle in my left leg. So so it's pretty large. When I start the treatment, my body's not really responding to it at first. And then, my mom kind of steps in and does some really heroic things. We can talk about that in a second. And we kind of change our perspective on cancer, and we start entertaining the idea that I'm going to live, all of that great stuff. And then once I started kind of being more optimistic and positive about what I was going through, my life after cancer, my body then started responding to the treatment. And then it struck it down probably to like 50%. So now it's not the size of a large, a small watermelon. Now it's like the size of a grapefruit. So they go in, they remove the tumor out of my leg. And then I continued on with treatment again. So I did treatment, I did chemotherapy over 101 times
Wow.
in 10 months. Yeah, in 10 months. Um, I had to learn how to walk again. It was extremely, extremely hard. The symptoms were very hard on my body. And I had to do chemotherapy quite a bit of times because the cancer was extremely aggressive. This was very aggressive cancer. So we had to approach it, very aggressively. So doing the treatment 101 over 101 times was unbearable at times, but it was something that had to be done.
Do you still see your doctor and get checked regularly still for
You know,
this?
I am definitely somebody who is a creature of habit. And because when I first got diagnosed with this cancer, I was in the best shape of my life. I had like a six pack. I was running 3 miles a day. I was doing more push-ups than some of the guys. Like I was in tip-top shape. And then this kind of cancer comes out of nowhere. So now, even though I'm cancer free, I've been in remission for 17 years, I still go to the doctors and get a PET scan. And I have to fight tooth and nail with these people because they're like, "Hey, you're out 10 years. Like, we don't really need to keep doing this." But I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is what I want to do. This is part of my protocol and how I feel I keep myself safe and informed about my body. Because, 17 years ago, I was the epitome of health and doing well, and then all of a sudden this kind of pops out of nowhere. So now for me, I advocate on my own and for myself, and I always get my PET scans, my CT scans, and they're not necessary. This is what they say. They say I don't need them, but I feel like I do because I want to know if anything were to happen like that, I did everything in my power to get ahead of the curve.
One thing I wanted to ask you as well, Brandi, is I should have wrote it down. If I can remember, I will write it down.
Mhm.
It's funny, you can remember stuff, and then when you talk to somebody, you forget. So,
Oh yeah.
one thing about the cancer too. Now I remember what I wanted to say because I spoke to someone else the other day about this. Cancer doesn't discriminate. I know a lot of people that were healthy,
Mm-hmm.
fitness people,
Yeah.
clean living, and they ended
Yeah.
up getting it. And
Yeah.
cancer I've seen does not discriminate regardless.
Exactly. I always say it's an aimless bullet and it has anybody's name on it. You just never know. And to your point, I'm in this oncology cancer space and I'll meet so many amazing people. And like you said, they're the healthiest people. They eat clean living. They don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't do anything. They seem very happy. And then they'll get cancer. And it's like, okay, so I don't know what it is. I don't know why we get it. I don't know what kind of triggers it in the body. I have no idea. I just know that it's possible to happen, and that we have to be ready. I think at all times, just being as healthy as we can. And even though we are, extremely healthy, having a very healthy body helps with the treatment, helps with the survival rates. Like I do believe because I was in the best shape of my life when I first got diagnosed, that's why I was able also to live. Because if I had been somebody who's extremely healthy, my body would not have been able to take over 101 rounds of chemotherapy. I mean, my nails were turning blue. I was stuttering. I was seeing stuff. I was having bad dreams. I had to get several blood transfusions. I couldn't walk. Like I was like literally dying, but I started out super strong to like withstand this entire terrible, treatment cycle that I had to do. But I started out like I looked like a superhero. Like I was in great shape.
Have you thought about writing a book? And if you already have, has it helped you as well?
Yeah. So when I when I was going through my cancer experience, and because the doctors, they basically were telling me that I was going to pass away. My mother was there the entire time that I was going through this process, and she also had my nephew there. And so I also kind of failed to mention that my sister was also deployed. So there's two daughters that are deployed. One just came back from an Iraqi war, and another daughter is still there. So my mother is babysitting her grandson, which is my sister's son. Um, so we're both there. I'm sorry, what was the question again? I think I want to make sure I was saying it correctly.
Uh, just I just wanted to ask you. It was just I was talking to you about cancer not discriminating, and just I know my memory's starting to go. I got to start writing stuff down. I'm
Me too.
54. I'm
You're
54, so
54. Okay, I have
I'm
no
54.
excuse.
So, but
Okay.
no. But just how difficult it is to beat cancer, and I wanted to also bring up that you're on the board of directors for Sarcoma Alliance, and can you just tell us about what that entails?
Yeah, so I'm on the board of directors for the Sarcoma Alliance. And what we do there is we, of course, spread awareness about sarcoma cancer because there's so many different types of subtypes of sarcoma. But we help with education, financial support as well, getting a second opinion. I think that's really the heart of it. What the Sarcoma Alliance is really known for is getting the second opinions because that's extremely important. A lot of people will think that they can deal, like doctors will think that they can deal with a sarcoma, um, but they need to be brought to a specialist because this is not just a breast cancer. This is not just, any type of cancer. It's a very intricate type of cancer, and you need to know exactly what you're doing. So we have our second opinion, grant opinion that helps with that. Resources, education, linking you up with the right types of individuals that if you need somebody to kind of be like a mentor to talk to. But we've done really amazing work, and I'm extremely proud to be with them. I've been with them since 2019, and we've done some really amazing things. Talked to different patients, doctors. We have a new webinar series that we do. I think like every other, at least once a quarter, webinar series where we'll have a specific subtype that we're going to talk about. We'll have the patient perspective, and then we'll have the medical perspective, and they talk about that subtype and like pretty detailed. And so you'll be able to find somebody who might have, like a Ewing sarcoma or maybe like a nerve sheath tumor or something. But we kind of provide a plethora of services, but we're really known for the second opinion.
How can our audience, live streamer on audio, help out? Is there a website where people can donate online or even volunteer their time?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be the sarcomaalliance.org, I believe it is. But yeah, you can go on there, you can donate, you can volunteer. We have all different types of volunteering positions. Just let us know whatever your specialty is. If you're really good at website designing, or maybe you're good at crowdfunding and getting donors or social media. Like we're always looking for different people that could kind of help us further the mission and also make them feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
Now, Brandi, since you had cancer or you in sarcoma since 2009, do you find cancer research has made progress since then?
Mm, has it made progress? I do feel like it's made progress. So I also work with the DoD, the Department of Defense, with this program called the Peer Reviewed Research Cancer Program (PRCRP), and on that board or on that platform, we'll say, I am a consumer reviewer and I review several different applications that are trying to get funding for like a specific, we'll say like a specific treatment option, or maybe it's like a different mechanism or idea award. And I've seen huge progress in the sarcoma space for sure, as far as treatment goes. Some of them seem like they're extremely plausible, that they can work. Others seem like they need a little bit more work, but I feel like we're definitely headed in the right direction for, I guess, a cure for cancer, for sarcoma. I guess if that's what you want to say, but I think for sure, like alleviating certain symptoms or getting a more tailored type of treatment for that specific tumor. I think we're getting really close with that for sure.
And also, you want to probably tell our audience and everyone to see your doctor regularly. And if you
Absolutely.
feel something's wrong with your body, make sure you go and see a medical person right away.
Absolutely. I think that is very important. I just don't kind of shrug it off. You always got to go to the doctors and make sure your body. I feel like also too that's our body communicating to us. If our body communicates something, we need to then use our words and communicate that to a professional so they can do their job to ensure that you're healthy, or if something is wrong, whatever that next step is going to be.
Now I remembered what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Any plans for a book, or have you already written a
Oh,
book
yes.
as an author?
Thank you. That's what it was. So, okay, thank you. You brought me right back. Thank you so much. For the book, I think I was talking about my mother who was there and my sister, and who was also in Iraq at the time. So the doctors were saying that I was going to possibly be passing away. And because of that, I was just, I was really sad that I was going to be leaving my nephew, who was 2 at the time, and he knew nothing about me. I mean, I don't know about you or anybody on this call or who's listening, but if you can remember a memory from when you were 2 years old, like raise your hand. Let me know what that was, because
I
I
can't.
I can't either. I can't either. So I said, he's not going to know me at all. He's not going to know me. He's not going to know anything. So I said, how can I leave something for him so he can like know who I am, or like know some sort of part of me that he could take home with him and he could have forever. So I was like, I'm going to start writing a journal. So I started creating a journal. Journal was to him, just talking about what was going on, what we were doing, my thoughts to him, my prayers for him, how sorry I was that I was leaving and I wasn't going to be able to watch soccer games or his first girlfriend, or, hang out with him, or his birthday, or whatever it was. So I was just kind of, drafting kind of like a farewell journal, basically just for him. And one day my mom came into the hospital room, and this is when, she was just really seeing that I was struggling mentally. Like I was depressed. I'm losing interest in everything. And I'm really just starting to kind of come to grips that I'm going to die. So I'm kind of like just mentally preparing myself and like checking out basically. And she creates this sign, and she grabs a piece of paper, and this paper says, do not enter unless you're feeding her, taking her vitals, or giving her medication. And she put this piece of paper on the outside of my hospital door. And so what this did was it stopped all of the negative banter that was coming into the room. And I was kind of just like accepting everything. Once she did that, she came back over, she sat down, and she said, Brandy, I know the doctors don't think you're going to make it. Statistics are stacked up against us. And she would always use the word us, like we were in this together. And she said, there are miracles every single day. Why can't you be one of them? And then that was the day that I decided that I didn't want to be a memory told off my mother's lips, and that it was time to believe in a miracle. And I was like, okay, if I live, God, and if you let me live, I'm going to change this journal into a book. Now, I didn't know how I was going to create a book. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know anybody who would publish anything, but that was like a promise to God that that's what I would do. So couple years later, I have, I'm flipping through everything and I see this journal. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what I promised to God. This is what I have to do. So I joined a school called Savannah College of Art and Design. I got my master's at that location. It was in writing. And I used my journal as my thesis. So I had everybody reading over it, kind of giving me feedback, and they gave me really great feedback about it, and they were like, you got to publish this and make this a book. And I'm like, well, little do you know, like that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I ended up publishing it in 2018, and it started out as a journal to my nephew but ended up as a memoir of my own. So I did publish a book. It is out there right now on Amazon. It's called The Enemy Inside Me, and it just talks about my experience with cancer and being deployed in Iraq.
How would you describe yourself as a writer, and how much therapy was writing that book?
How do I am a very, very detailed person. Like I, I love just, I love being able to to be able to smell, be able to hear, being able to see. So I can write very well. I'm a very visual type of writer. So my book is full of like lots of details, description, descriptive words. Like it's a really great, 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 fascinating read. Lots of emotion. So I think I'm a very detailed writer, and it was extremely therapeutic. Of course, it changed from being, the style from like a journal and like entries to something different, but it was very therapeutic. I remember like when I would read over my journal and reread what I wrote. Sometimes it was coherent, sometimes it wasn't because I was going through treatment, but it did bring me back. And it's just a reminder of how far I've come. I've come extremely far. Um, even in 2018 when I was reading it then, and then to like revisit it now, and I'm holding the actual book in my hand 17 years later. It's I think it's really amazing what we can do when we're really driven with purpose behind it.
How satisfying is it being able to help inspire and help others that have had cancer or serious medical issues?
I think it's extremely important. I know how important it was for me to find somebody that A had a sarcoma or B had Ewing sarcoma. So to be able to be that person that I was searching for years, and then finally, social media kind of really just took over, and now there's different types of groups that you can join, and they have that specific cancer or something close to that. I just feel like it's important to talk to somebody who knows what you're going through, who has been there, who can offer kind words, who can provide hope to you. I just know how important it is to have a support system, whether that's coming from, a family member, a support group, or therapy. Like you need support to kind of get yourself out of the clouds of depression and know that there is a life outside of what you're experiencing currently right now.
Any plans for a future book or even a podcast show in the future?
Definitely not a podcast. Definitely not a podcast. I feel like that just seems like a lot of work. So I definitely take my hat off to you for that. But I wrote a children's book, and it's basically done. I have several, different chapters and kind of sequels or series for this book. And it's going to be a children's book. I kind of put it on the back burner. And just recently, I think I was telling you before this call, before we went live, how my laptop it crashed on me, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. And on that is my children's book. So I'm like, I have to do something with this, right? So I'm like, okay, so when my laptop is better and it's working, everything's okay, like I'm gonna retrieve that and I'm gonna revisit that because I feel like I could really help some young kids. I would love to partner with, a children's hospital or maybe an a pediatric oncology clinic or space and kind of have this book there. But I can't wait. That's next project. It's definitely my children's book and retrieving that off my broken laptop for sure. I have to do that.
Brandi, what's one word to describe yourself as a cancer survivor?
One word. I feel like resilient is just like so cliche, but I'll definitely say compassionate for sure.
Brandi, I want to kind of get into to your real estate career.
Okay.
Can you just tell our audience how you got into the real estate industry in the state of Georgia and with Boulevard Homes?
Yeah, so I it really started, and so my first introduction or like the importance of it was in 2009. So when I was at the ward, there were several people on this ward. Most of them were military, but some of them were not. But I was just noticing that some of the individuals who were not military, their treatment was not covered like my treatment was, right? So my all of my treatment, my hospital stay that I was there for 10 months, I was an inpatient, all of my physical therapy, all of the chemotherapies, the side effect treatments that I needed, the surgeries that I had, because I had 7 leg surgeries that year, my food, like everything that would just the total like capacity of being an inpatient and what all that takes, it was taken care of. I didn't have to fork over any money. All of that was taken care of. And when I totaled up the number, it was like over $4 million altogether with that 10-month stay. That's a really long time. Some
Wow.
people don't even see $4 million in their entire career, in their entire life. So $4 million is a lot of money. And the military paid for that, hands down. I didn't have anything. When I walked away, I was debt free. But other people on that ward did not have that same type of, fortunate experience, such as me. So during these conversations, I would hear them talk about how they were liquidating their retirement funds. They were giving away certain animals. They were trading their cars in. They were getting rid of cars. And then one of the things was they were seeing what the equity was in their home. They were selling their homes. And so I learned at that moment that real estate is huge opportunity for any type of unforeseen event that may happen. You can liquidate something, you can pull the equity out of the home. So I really saw real estate as a tool. And so that's what really like kind of introduced me to real estate. And I said, okay, one day like I'll revisit this when I'm ready. But I think now, many years later, real estate kind of just found me right in my life, like what's I would kind of determine as like the right timing now. So after like spending years in healthcare, and I've been advocating for years, I just realized I wanted a career where I could make the most impact in people's lives every single day. Buying a home is often, for me, is like the largest financial decision that someone will ever make. And I wanted to be the person they trusted during that process. And I feel like Georgia is rapidly growing. And I just saw that there was an opportunity to build relationships, serving family and, your customers in a very meaningful way, because they're always remembered the agent that sold them that home or helped buy the home or listed the home, invested in properties. I think it's like you always have a piece of them with you.
Now, I've had some real estate agents on from Canada, from the Toronto area. Do you have to be licensed in Georgia in the States as well to sell real estate?
Yeah, you have to be licensed in every state that you're going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I don't know how it works, where you're at or internationally. Maybe you don't, I'm not sure. But if I wanted to work in the state of Florida, I would need a license in Florida.
What's the process like in getting licensed?
For me, it was definitely studying a ton, because when I first got into real estate, I didn't really know too much about like the representing somebody, right? So you got to learn about the laws, the rules, the regulations, the things that are very specific to this state. And then like on a national level, what you can and you can't do, because it's completely different when you're just, you're going there, you're buying real estate, you're forking over the money, you put an offer in, but there's so much more behind it. There's negotiation. You have to be that person's therapist. You have to, help them find the right inspector or the right appraisal. And then you also have to you have to really stick up for your clients, because people will run them over, right? So you're kind of like that bulldog for them as well. So there's just so much more to than just selling a beautiful, pretty home. Like, to get to that process, there's so many different steps. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. So I have a quick little story. I had a friend who was thinking about, getting into real estate, and she's like, I just want to sell beautiful homes. And she's just, what you see on TV just looks like so much fun. I'm like, yeah. So we're going through this whole process, and going through this process with her, she's changed her mind now because she feels like it's too much work. So it's like it can take a long time. And then from, the initial working with them to find the home, like your paycheck can sometimes take a year. It can sometimes take 3 months. So it just doesn't happen overnight. Like it's a long, lengthy process.
I wanted to ask you this too, and I'm not sure about Georgia, but I know for a few years ago here in Ontario, there was more and more people self-selling their homes, trying to save money instead of using a real estate realtor.
Yeah.
Do you
Mhm.
find self-selling is growing or shrinking in Georgia?
Oh gosh. I'm not too sure specifically about those specific numbers. I know that they have the for sale by owners. There's, they're always there. But I think that I don't know. I don't not going to say I don't agree with it because I understand why they're trying to save the money. But I think that if they could just find out whatever that hard number is for them, that their net, what they want to make, you can still incorporate an agent, like because I feel like they're doing themselves a disservice. You can't get on all the platforms you need. You don't really know about the market. Do you know how to negotiate properly? The open houses, how does that look? How's that supposed to feel? I think it's important to have somebody there who's representing you versus somebody who is not going to be helping you kind of teach you through that process, unless you are somebody who is extremely established and you know everything about the market, and maybe you were in the in the an agent prior before. Then I wouldn't say to do that. I would definitely think it's best to get some professional help.
Let's say for somebody that's a first time home for a first time home buyer, or they want
Um,
to rent and they want a real estate realtor, like such as yourself, what are some key signs to look for to make sure you have the right fit?
what do you mean, like as an agent wise, or?
As an agent, and also you wanna make sure you have the right client too.
Yeah, so so I think first of all, I think people always think that like it's I think it's important to interview each other, right? So asking important questions like, well, how do you envision this relationship working, working relationship working? How do you want to be communicated, or how is your communicative style? Some people don't want all the details. Some people just want to, here's the money, just do the process and get it done for me. So I think it's important just to understand who you're working with, and then asking those questions to figure out, okay, well, can I can I cater to that style that this client wants, or vice versa? Is this agent going to give me the representation that I need and I want, right? So I think it's just important that both people are very honest. They interview each other, and then from there they can come up with a plan that works for them both. So when you work with somebody, and if you don't like them or you think they're not doing a great job, you can always let them go. There's, it's not like you have to stay married to that person the entire process. You can very much fire each other.
Now in Georgia, is it a percentage? Is it a certain percentage of the house, or it depends on the value of the house for your
Um,
commission? How does commissions work?
Yeah, so the commission, so there's no set standard for a commission per se, but there is like a running standard. Like typically somebody will charge 3%. So they'll pay their listing agent 3%. And if they're selling the home, they'll also possibly entertain the idea of paying 3% for the buyer compensation. So it could be a total of 6%. It just all matters on which side there's the spectrum that you're on. But I would say that the acceptable rate, and it could be, different rates at different places, but for me, my compensation is, it's going to be starting at 3% at least.
Brandy,
Yes.
okay. Thanks for explaining that, Brandy. I
Absolutely.
want to get your thoughts on the current real estate market in Georgia right now. Do you feel it's shrinking due to the economy?
I wouldn't say it's shrinking. I think it's evolving. I think like markets naturally they just shift because that's kind of what life is ebb and flow always. I think higher interest rates have slowed down some of the buyers. But I do still think people are definitely they're getting married still, so they need a bigger place. They're having children still, families are growing. People are relocating to jobs in different parts of the country. people are retiring, people want to invest. So I don't think it's really shrinking. I think it's evolving, and I think it's always going to be evolving. I think real estate has always been, kind of clinical in kind of some aspects, but the key is understanding the market, what it is today, and not wishing what it was yesterday or in 2020 or 2007. Like whatever the market is today, understanding what that looks like and working from there.
Do you feel the market is shrinking for the younger generation, or do you find it's growing right now with the younger generation and buying houses?
Mm, I don't know. That's a good question. Mm, I don't know. I feel like the younger generation, I think affordability has definitely created challenges, specifically like student loans and inflation. I think like the rising home prices also has made it extremely difficult for people to have ownership. However, I also feel like young buyers are like adapting to purchasing like smaller homes. Like there's the tiny homes. There's like, that's a big deal these days. Tiny homes,
Yeah.
everybody wants that. Or like investment properties or house hacking is something that's huge right now, especially in like the military population. So some people on this call may know what house hacking is, but I'll just take a brief moment to describe that. So you'll use your VA loan to buy a property. You live in that property. We'll say there's 4 units in that property. You live in one of the units, you rent the rest of them out. And then if you stay in that unit for at least a year, you can sell it. You can sell that unit, the whole unit, use that as a starting portfolio, and then do it again. And you just keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. And you can build millions of dollars off of that. So I think that's great. But overall, I think it's, moving further and further outside of the major cities. Um, yeah, with them buying with partners, that's definitely something too with the younger generation. And they're just using creative different types of platforms to do this. And I think we're having younger millionaires because people are going like TikTok famous, and like, like these social media influencers are just doing amazing things. I have a cousin who's doing exceptionally well on social media, and he'll do a brand deal for like $100,000. I'm like, how is that? And he's not even 30. I'm like, that's not even fair. But the world is, it's different. And I think we just gotta be prepared and just move with it.
And you just said the key word. The world is changing, it's evolving. And I wanted
Hmm.
to get your thoughts, Brandi. And I ask a lot of guests this, even if they're in different careers, but it's an impact on all of us. Just thoughts on AI in your real estate industry. And do you find the real estate industry could shrink in the future with today's technology?
I think AI is an incredible tool. I don't I don't think it's going to replace relationships at all whatsoever, at least from what I can kind of see. And I've done some research on it. I feel like it helps us market the homes, analyze the data, create really great creative content. And I also feel like it improves efficiency. I definitely use AI because it helps like streamline the process for me. But I feel like AI, it can't negotiate complex contracts. I don't think it can. I also feel like it's missing the emotional situations. It can't advocate for a client during, one of the biggest purchases of their life. It can't, there's just things emotionally that it can't do that we can do as agents. But I do feel like it's important that we embrace technology because it's going to continue to evolve. And those who do embrace it, they'll thrive. And then those who are not, they're just going to struggle and be left behind with, the dinosaurs and, the typewriter and stuff. So like we have to continue to evolve and move with the market because that's where it's trending. That's where it's going.
What are some tips for first-time home buyers or renters in the state of Georgia? Do you deal with renters too, or you just strictly deal with buyers?
Let's see. I don't really deal with any renting per se, so I don't have much experience with that. But like if there was like a first time home buyer and whatever that process is, I can talk about that a bit more.
Absolutely, if you got a few minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely with if you're a first time home buyer, I think the tips that I would say was, it's first definitely meeting with the lender, finding out what your numbers are. And I feel like some people believe that just because you've been pre-approved for something, that that's the amount that's going to close at. But you have to remember, you have to pay the loan origination fee, you have to pay closings. Sometimes you'll have to pay the agent if the seller's not going to be paying for that. You have to put a down payment down. So I think there's a lot. There's a gap between knowing what you've been pre-approved for and then what are the hidden costs that are associated with buying a house. So I always try to educate my first time home buyers about that first, right? You've met with your lender, this is your number, but know that there's a closing cost that's associated with this. The seller may not be paying the buyer compensation, the other hidden fees, and we have to tax that on top. Now they can either pay that out of pocket at the closing table, or they can build that into their mortgage, which would then change the possibly what their budget is going to be. So I think it's just really important that you kind of break it down piece by piece and explain what these numbers could look like, because sometimes they are, you'll lose a deal because they have not been educated properly. And it's our job to educate them and teach them about the process before we get to looking at the homes and seeing the properties, because once we're there, we're kind of doing us all a disfavor if I'm not educating you about the process. Now we've wasted all of this time and you're not ready anymore. Now we have to wait another year.
I have a viewer that was my guest on yesterday. Her name's Carly Lee. She's watching on LinkedIn. She's also a cancer survivor as well. And she just wants to say, indeed, the world is definitely changing. AI is great if it's used wisely. It's an amazing tool, but we all have to stay connected, embrace it. Great conversation. And Carly has an amazing story, just like you, Brandi. So I want to say thank you to Carlin for watching and her comment.
Hi, Carlin. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching, and congratulations on your survival. I know that it is not an easy feat, so great job for that.
And that's what I love about this show is the storytelling aspect and the learning aspect from every guest here.
Absolutely. You can learn so much from so many people and through storytelling for sure.
Brandi, if you got a few more minutes, I just got a couple more quick questions I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
You're still good for that?
Yep.
When selling or purchasing a home, what is the first potential thing buyers look for in a home?
Well, I think it all just depends on what it is, what's your goal? Do you want more rooms? I think it all just depends on what it is that person is buying. But I can tell you, we'll see major selling points, like the kitchen's really big. People want to have a nice kitchen. They want a nice bedroom. Bathrooms are also a really hot selling point, but definitely the kitchen, because a lot of people, that's where they spend quite a bit of time in. And I feel like we're leaning a little bit more towards like an open floor concept. So, before, there's every room had its own room and it was kind of boxed and squared off. But now I'm definitely noticing that people are wanting to have an open floor concept, and a even flowing property where the kitchen is kind of like seamless and they can see their family. There's not a huge wall blocking everything, so as they're cooking their meals and eating supper or having whatever it is, they can always glance over. They don't have to have magical vision to see through the wall, but they can see their family now.
Thoughts on people downsizing and tiny homes these days?
Mm. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I know I definitely wanted to get a couple of tiny homes. I don't know if I would be claustrophobic in such a small, tiny home. But I know that's a huge trend right now. Getting tiny homes, renting them out, living in RVs. I feel like the world is, things are just so expensive right now that they're doing anything they can to still, have some sort of privacy, but they are sacrificing space.
Well, and also the price of gas, and also
Yes, it's
shrink
expensive.
gas, and also I don't know if you're getting it in the stores in the States, but here it's called shrinkflation, where you're paying more for a product and getting less.
Yeah, I was just talking to my cousin about this the other day. I was like, it's so weird because I feel like the bag of chips, right? I feel like back in the day they were fuller,
Yep.
right? I feel like things were fuller, bigger, not bigger, but like more
Yep.
more inside this package or whatever it was. I felt like we got more. But now I feel like the bag is like a third of its full. I'm like, what is going on? But we're paying even more for the bag of chips, and it's even less product in in the bag. It doesn't make any sense to me, but yeah. So I guess it really is a thing.
And my guest from yesterday, Carlene Lee, wants to say thank you so much. And she's actually doing a 500-kilometer bike challenge in support of kids' cancer here in Ontario.
Oh wow, that's
So, so
amazing!
yes, she is an
Thank you for
amazing
that.
person, and
Yeah.
she's also an author of her own book too. I'll have
Oh,
to
cool.
send you. I'll have to send you her information after a show.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to check it out. Yes.
Hey, Brandy, I wanted to get your thoughts on here too. Just quick thoughts on the impact of the internet and social media platforms and apps in the real estate industry these days.
I feel like it's completely transformed our industry for sure. I also feel like buyers often discover homes on Instagram, the social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all that before they're even like on the MLS websites. Especially for like agents, that's because that's where we're gearing most of our. I mean, there's the MLS website, but we're also showcasing on social media like what can we do, well look at this property here and we can market this way and we can do these great things here, and then that's where people are looking because the younger generation is the future, so we have to remember who we're marketing to. It's going to be on social media as well, but neither nor here or there. I do feel like social media is allowing realtors to educate, of course, build trust, and then showcase our personalities, which is amazing. So you could kind of see who you're going to be working with, and is the personality going to match or not? You never know, but you can kind of see who that person is. Yeah, I think social media is great. It's a way where we can work with people that we know and we like and we trust for sure.
In your time in the real estate industry, Brandy, do you find there's more women and more diversity in the industry?
Mm, I I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more women that I've seen so far, but I mean, that's just in Georgia right now. Like I've definitely come across more women in real estate here in Georgia. But then again, maybe that's because I'm not looking for men. I'm not quite sure. I'm looking for women to kind of team up with and work together with and co-agent on certain properties and do certain things. So maybe my finder is kind of off, but that's kind of what I'm running more into is women realtors for sure.
Carlene Lee, who's watching on LinkedIn, just says, "Oh my God, yes, chip bags were loaded much more and bigger." So yeah,
Yeah,
shrinkflation is what they call it. It seems
I
to
knew
be
it.
getting
Yep.
bigger in every country.
Yep. I definitely can see it because yeah, there was so much more of whatever that product was in the bag than what we're getting now for sure. Now the bag is like halfway, it's not even halfway, it's like a third of it. Like I was saying, it's very small, but we're paying a much larger price.
Absolutely, and salaries aren't keeping up with inflation,
Yeah, it's too
in my
bad.
opinion.
Yep. Yeah.
Brandy, what's next up on your bucket list as a realtor, and what are some misconceptions or stereotypes still of real estate realtors in 2026?
Let's see. I think I'd love to continue growing my luxury business and expanding my national and international speaking platform, educating for sure more military veterans about home ownership. I think one misconception about realtors are we simply just unlock the door, which is not the case. I think in reality, if people only knew what's going behind closed doors, we're negotiating, we're marketing, educating, solving problems. You're a counselor, you're a project manager, all rolled in one. and you need to make it happen. And I think like a stereotypical thing right now, that technology has made our job easy. I think it's actually more, not that it hasn't, but I think that it's, I don't know. I think it's helped us with communicating and marketing. We're able to kind of pinpoint expertise, and we're able to make things a little bit faster. But I don't think that it's necessarily like made our job just simple, because we still have to put the footwork in.
How would you describe yourself as a real estate realtor and as a keynote speaker?
Mm, how would I describe myself? I think I'm, God, well, definitely driven for sure, but I think I'm like a triple threat. I really do. Like I have a marketing background. Um, I myself had invested in several different properties, and understand what that perspective is from a, I was going to say a patient, from a consumer perspective, and now I have the business perspective. So I think it's really important to find somebody who understands the business from all angles. So I definitely think that I can offer that, and I would say that that's what I offer in my sentence would be, I'm like a Swiss Army knife. I have lots of different tools.
And as a keynote speaker, what makes a good speaker in your opinion?
I think a good speaker is um, who can tell stories well. I think being able to tell a story well, capture the audience, walk them through whatever the situation or the story is, move them with emotions, give them, some logic as well. And at the end, they have to learn something that they can take home. But I think it needs to be, it needs to be packed with emotion.
And Brandi, if you're okay for a couple more minutes, couple more quick questions, just want to briefly wrap this up on your experience with the U.S. Army and as a veteran, and without getting into politics, just having the pleasure of meeting President Joe Biden in on a photo from a couple years ago, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a amazing opportunity. So what happened there, that was in 2022. I was invited, I was personally hand selected to advocate, or my advocacy journey is what kind of led me there, but it was called the PACT Act. And I was able to meet, the President Biden, who was the president at the time. Um, but it was for basically like, it was a PACT Act. What the PACT Act was in 2022 is for those individuals who had been exposed to toxic exposures. So if you were in Iraq, or maybe you were overseas some other place, and you had toxic exposure exposed to you, and you came back either sick, or you had cancer, or maybe you're having seizures now there's a service connected opportunity for you to be compensated for what had happened to you, being exposed to those toxins. And so I was part of passing that bill and getting that advocated. And I believe it's like one of the largest ones in history for the military aspect. So it's a huge, 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 huge deal. And it just, all of my hard work, advocating, telling my story, linking up with people, going down to the White House and speaking, it all paid off. And there's an actual a bill that has been passed, and I was part of that history. It's something I will always be proud of. It's kind of like the icing on the cake. Like all of this work wasn't done in vain, and those people now who have been exposed, or now there's education and a possible risk mitigation platform that can kind of stop these things from happening. It's important because people, we came back with cancer. Some of us didn't go back home. Some of us, they had to be buried, So if we can stop that and we can educate people on that, and or at least compensate those families, I think we're headed in the right direction.
Much respect to anyone who serves in their military, their army around the world. Much respect and thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
How much of an impact did serving with the U.S. Army and your country have on your life?
I think it's a huge, huge, huge thing. I stand, it completely shaped the woman that I am today for sure. I learned that service is bigger than myself. I think that mindset has continued today, whether I'm helping a client buy a home, I'm speaking in front of an audience and I want to influence them or educate them. My goal is always to serve first. And acts of service is always my love language. But I think that has definitely changed who I am, just not only physically, but like mentally and spiritually as well. I did a lot of us don't go to war, fighting for our country, but I did. That's again, I feel like that separates me from the pact, immediately, just right off the bat. But um, I think it's always going to be something that has taught me great. I feel like it's given me a stronger purpose in life for sure.
What's your most memorable moment as being a part of the U.S. Army?
Mm, I think the friendships that came out of there, the people that you serve along, they do become your family, right? I still keep in contact with a couple of them that we went down to war with. But I do think you just learn to trust one another in ways that most people will never be able to experience. And those relationships, they'll be forever like stained in your brain. You always have a special place in their heart, in your heart with them for each other. Because you fought for a country. You guys put your life on the line together. And I think that's a bond that nobody could ever take away or destroy. It's fastened there for the rest of your life.
As we wrap up the show, Brandy, what do you love the most about the state of Georgia?
What do I love most about the state of Georgia? What do I love about Georgia? Oh gosh, I love the weather. I know it's really hot here, and but I love the weather. I also love how much land there is. I love the opportunity to buy land. I think that's, king. Really, I love land. I love nature. Um, yeah, I like Georgia. When back in the day, another quick little story. Back in the day, when I was probably in my early 20s, I always dreamt of coming to Georgia and being here. And I've made that made that come true. But yeah, I like the weather. I love nature. I love land. So this is a perfect place for me.
For those people who've never been to Georgia, including myself, what would you say why they should come and visit at some point?
I think the people. I think Georgia has incredibly diversity, has beautiful communities. We have a thriving economy. We have amazing food. I think also there's like a Southern charm and hospitality that's here that you don't get on the West Coast at all. I think it's just a wonderful place to build a life and have a career. I love the Southern charm here for sure. And I'm from California, so there's no knock to the West side, from California, but they're definitely the hospitality here in the Southern state is completely different than it is on the West Coast.
Finally, Brandy, this is a new segment on my show as we wrap it up. It's called Ask the Host CDP a Question. CDP are my initials. So, do you have a question to put me on the hot seat as we wrap this up?
Yes. Are you ready to answer the question?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I do have a question actually. I wrote it down. So you've interviewed so many successful and inspiring people over the years. What is one common characteristic you've noticed among those who have achieved lasting success despite facing significant adversity? Ooh, mouthful.
I would say mindset, willpower, and determination, and don't let temporary setbacks stop you from doing what you're doing. And also connecting, networking, and a lot of them have told me too. No matter how successful you get, stay humble and stay
Yes.
hungry. Not just in terms of food, but stay hungry in terms of knowledge and
Yeah.
learning, and continue to get better. Never be complacent.
Yeah, never be complacent. I feel like when you become complacent, like you're dead, you know, it's
Absolutely, and
just you're dead in the water.
And I started this 7 years ago. I switched careers from security into media during the pandemic, and I self taught myself through today's technology.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's impressive. Congratulations to that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm just trying to prove to people age is just a number, and don't judge someone on their age. Judge them on their character, personality, and their work ethic and what kind of person they are. Pay it
Mm-hmm.
forward too.
Absolutely. I agree with all of that 100%.
I could talk to you for 3 or 4 hours, Brandi, but we're gonna wrap the show up. But
Okay.
I want to say thank you so much for
hmm
coming on here today. And as we wrap this up, where can our audience again follow you on social media, your
Yeah.
website, the best way
Yeah.
of contacting you, and as a keynote speaker too?
Yes. You can follow me on all of my social media platforms, Realtor Brandi L. Benson. My email is Brandy Benson. Let me see which one I want to give you guys because the personal one, let's do personal. So Brandy at brandylbenson.com. That's my email. And then, whether you're buying or selling or investing or looking for a keynote speaker, or you just have, just regular questions on real estate or overcoming adversity, like I am so happy to talk, connect, give advice, cheer somebody up. I have a lot of people who reach out to me in my DMs who will be like, hey, Brandy, like this person has this kind of cancer. Can you just give them some encouraging words? Absolutely. Send me their phone numbers, send me their email, connect me on whatever platform. I'm happy to walk them through whatever process, help them advocate for themselves. If they need help kind of asking certain questions, I'll put the questions together and be like, hey, ask this. They'll, I'm kind of like mediating back and forth with them. But I'm happy just to serve and to be here. My mission is extremely simple. Really, it's just I want to serve people with integrity. I want to advocate not only for themselves, but I want to advocate for you as well, if that's possible. And I just want to leave every person just feeling a little bit better than where I found them at.
Positivity, and I want to say thank you so much, Brandi. I'm really glad we connected on Facebook and social media, and I'm glad we were able to work out a day and time to have you come on. And
Mhm.
I could probably talk to you a couple more hours on real estate too, because I'm still learning about all of it as well. And
Mhm.
I just want to say continued success in what you're doing, and hopefully one day you get out to Canada and come out
Yeah.
to Toronto or Niagara Falls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would love to go there. I've never been. I'm not really, too keen on the cold, but maybe the summer,
We do have
summertime.
we do have hot, humid summers here. Our summers
Okay.
are very hot and humid. I like the four seasons. For me personally, I'm a fan of fall and winter.
Mm,
Summers are getting too hot here, too humid. I kind of like
mm,
the fall. I like the fall
wow.
time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll check out the fall. I
And
can't do the freezing. No snow for me.
I don't mind it. I don't like the ice. I like snow, but I don't like ice. By the way, if
Mhm.
you do come here too, I can connect you with a number of real estate agents in the Toronto area too. I've networked well with doing this show as well.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to reach out to you for sure.
And I got one more comment here. It's almost time. He's watching on YouTube. Good stuff. Love this episode. Thank
Oh,
you so much for watching.
yeah. Thanks for watching.
And this other gentleman, he's from Buffalo, New York. He has his own podcast. His name is Rob Schneider. He is watching. He wants to say hello to you as well.
Hi, Rob Schneider. Nice to meet you. Thank you for tuning in.
And yeah, Carlene Lean, I will put you in touch with her if you'd like to get in touch with her as well. Her story is amazing as well.
Okay. Yeah. I love hearing happy, successful stories. I'm just happy she's on
And
the other end.
what's next up for you anyways, Brandi?
What's next? What's next? Just that children's book, really. Just getting that children's book done. That is like a huge, huge, huge goal for me. If I can get that finished, then I'll be happy. I'll feel like I accomplished something. So I got to get that done.
And you have an open invite to come back on my show again in the future as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris.
Give me a little bit of time this afternoon. I got to get my walking in, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and some reels and clips. And I will
Okay.
tag you in, Brandi. And if you'd like the full video episode, please let me know in a message, and I can send it to you via WeTransfer.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Brandi. Take care of yourself. We'll keep in touch and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. That wraps up season 14, episode 29, overall 744 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Row West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Before we wrap up the show, guys, I'm going to play a little clip of Brandi Benson from her YouTube channel. Brandi Benson, her YouTube channel. This video is called "There Are Miracles Every Day. Why Can't You Be One?" And I thought I would play this clip to end the show up.
Literally starts the day that I put my M16 down and picked up that gray chemotherapy pole. I was laying next to a couple of clear vomit bags, and I remember just laying in the bed, not feeling well, of course, because cancer treatment and chemotherapy was just raging war in my veins. And I was glancing at the scatters of hair just all over my pillowcases and my blanket. But there was one thing that always remained the same, and that was my support system. That was my mother.
When you go to the doctors, you want to hear answers that you want to hear. And because they were so sure that I was going to die, I didn't think I was going to be living. And just depression definitely consumed me for about, a couple of months. But then after I started going through the process and doing the treatments and then kind of understanding that my body was responding to the chemotherapy, things definitely did change. But I think the hardest part about mental health and cancer is the unknown.
I endured about 101 rounds of chemotherapy, and that's 10 months. I had 12 blood transfusions, had 5 leg surgeries, and I had endless hours of physical therapy because I had to learn how to walk again. It was horrific.
Before cancer, I was healthy, I was vibrant, I was known for doing all these sports, doing all these great things and being very athletic and one that was not vulnerable at all. To somebody who is broken, they're disabled. Now I have, a distorted leg. So it was really hard to come to terms with that the individual that I used to be pre-cancer was dead and gone. That I had to make peace with that. And I had to now reinvent myself, or I had the opportunity to reinvent myself and to kind of discover what I was good at, what I was bad at, what are my limits, what are my boundaries. And it was a good process, but it was really hard to say goodbye to the old individual. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned out of having cancer is it's really hard for people to not revert back to the past.
Because I didn't give up on myself, because I didn't quit, because I had a strong support system, I wrote that book, right? I became a published author. I've helped out with tons of nonprofit organizations looking to help further education for different types of cancers or finding the cures. Because I didn't give up on myself, because I didn't quit, and I had an amazing support system, I'm in front of all of you here today as a miracle.
I've been able to speak all across the globe about my story, sharing my story, giving people hope about resiliency, the importance of a strong support system, how we shouldn't define ourselves at that moment with adversity and think that life just stops when adversity happens. We are actually able to use that to our advantage and use that kind of like as a blueprint to maneuver through life a little better and quicker because we've been through these similar situations. So I've just been really blessed, even though it's, cancer that's kind of fueled everything, but I've been really blessed to meet some really great, amazing people and have this really amazing life that's much more purposeful and filling because I'm able to give back to individuals who have gone through similar situations or are going through similar situations. And I'm able to be that advocate for people who are going through cancer right now.
And I know cancer is hard, believe me, I know. And I know survivorship is even harder sometimes. But I think it's really important for you to dig deep and not buckle under the pressure and not think the worst of your disease, because there's so much more to life than what you're going through right now. This could be the chapter in your book too. So I just want to share with you all that there are miracles every single day. My question is, why can't you be one of them?
I want to say thank you to my guest today, Brandi Benson. She is a 17-year cancer survivor. She had Ewing sarcoma, and she's beat it. And I want to say thank you to Brandi Benson, Georgia Realtor, keynote speaker, a U.S. Army veteran, and a 17-year survivor of a rare and aggressive cancer called Ewing sarcoma. And it's basically a rare type of cancer that forms in bones or soft tissues in younger children, usually between the ages of 10 and 20, pelvis, ribs, long bones, legs, and arms as well. So Brandi Benson has an amazing story of surviving Ewing sarcoma, and also being a U.S. Army veteran as well. Much respect to Brandi for her service to her country and for battling and beating cancer as well. And she's also a Georgia real estate agent. So if you're ever in the Georgia area and you're looking for a home, please consider Brandi Benson, and all her social media sites are down here as well. That concludes my 6th show in 7 days with 6 different guests. So thank you to Brandi Benson. And I want to say thank you to you, the audience, watching this show on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram. I want to say thank you to everyone for their comments in the comment boxes. Robbie Schneider, thank you. Carlene, for your comments. Almost Time was watching. Joey Hatch, thank you so much for your comments too, by the way. I see your comment right here, Joey. Hello, brother. Figured I'd come in and check out your life because you came in last night and checked us out, see what it was all about. Thank you so much, Joey. I really appreciate it. And also want to say thank you again to Almost Time for coming on. So everyone watching the show, commenting, I really appreciate it. And it's the guests that make a great talk show. And this weekend, I've been very lucky with all my guests are amazing. But this weekend, Carlene Lee and Brandi Benson, tongue twister there. Thank you so much for sharing your stories about fighting and surviving and beating cancer as well. So Carlene Lee and Brandi Benson, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to my next show. And my next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by BarryCullen.com, is going to take place tomorrow, Monday, August 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern, with special guest Meredith Otero, a marketing strategist, writer, speaker, business development leader. So Meredith Otero. Meredith Otero will be on tomorrow, and again, she does a little work in sports as well. So she's a marketing strategist, she's a writer, a public speaker, and a business development leader. So looking forward to her show with Meredith Otero tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And I have more shows coming up next week as well, so please stay tuned as well. And I will be at the Toronto Argonauts home opener at BMO Field, the first time they're at BMO Field since last October 2025. The Argos are back home Thursday night, 7:30 kickoff at BMO Field, when the Argonauts 3-4 take on the 4-4 Calgary Stampeders with their number 1 offense and quarterback Vernon Adams Jr., who looks like he's going to be the most outstanding player in the CFL in 2026 so far. And he has thrown, I think, 25 touchdown passes already and no interceptions as well. So the Argos defense has their work cut out for them as well. And the Stamps are coming off a big win yesterday, 47-20 over the Hamilton Tiger Cats as well. That is about it, guys. I've had a really busy week this week with 6 shows in 7 days. And I want to say thank you to all my wonderful guests. And I want to say thank you to the audience watching on live stream and on my audio platforms. This show is also on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available. And as we wrap up the show, guys, I do this with every show. And if you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the New Hope Animal Rescue Group, 4990 Jones Baseline Road in Guelph, Ontario. Telephone number 519-836-9780, or their website, newhopeanimalrescueguelph.ca. So if you're looking to foster or adopt a cat, please consider the New Hope Animal Rescue Group. Again, and if you want to look at adopting or fostering them, your best bet is to call them again at 519-836-9780 or visit the website newhopeanimalrescuegroup.ca. Visitations are done by appointment as well. And they have a couple of cats, Rev, Wyatt, a bonded pair that are up for adoption at New Hope Rescue Group. They are at Pet Value right now. And they also have Peanut, another cat that's up for adoption there as well. So check out Pet Value at 1005 Paisley Road in Guelph if you want to see Peanut, Wyatt, and Rev. And again, Wyatt and Rev or our bonded pair have to be adopted together. Peanut is individual as well. And as always, right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, you can get yourself a $25 Esso and mobile e-gift card with a purchase of an oil change and an eligible vehicle health check. Offered valid. I can say it. Offered valid from June 1st, 2026 until August 31st, 2026. So you only got 29 more days before this offer expires. Book your appointment today at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership at barrycullen.com or visit the dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. And as we wrap up the show, guys, if you're looking to adopt a pet, please check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society, located at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals and pets that are up for adoption, their profile and their information are on there. And if you're looking to come down and see them, your best bet is to make a phone call at 519-623-7722, extension 0. Ask for Michelle or Cat. 519-623-7722, extension 0. Ask for Cat or Michelle if you're interested in coming down to see a cat or a dog or a bunny rabbit as well. And again, all their information is on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And this show, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars, live streaming, podcasting, go to StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans, paid professional plans like I do. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars or live streaming, go to StreamYard.com and contact your sales department for pricing as well. By the way, as we wrap this show up, if you'd like a personalized video message from yours truly, CDP, go to cameo.com, type in Chris Palme. I do happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy Hanukkah, happy divorce, anything within reason. I look forward to your request today on cameo.com/Chris Palme. And also, if you like my media work, you like my 3 talk shows, you like my media content on YouTube, I am on paypal.com. Go to paypal.com at Chris Palme or cpalme19@gmail.com if you'd like to contribute, support my media content here as well. And as we wrap up the show, guys, I'm going to say this. The Detroit Tigers traded away a two-time Cy Young winner, future Hall of Fame pitcher, Tarek Skudrow last night to the LA Dodgers, of course, for 3 prospects. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't see there being a 2027 Major League Baseball season. I know the Dodgers are committed to winning, but it seems like anyone that's got any talent at all goes to the Dodgers. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think Major League Baseball needs a full lockout for a year. They need a full salary cap. And it's not good for the sport to have one team dominate. So I would give the trade for the Tigers an F, the trade for the Dodgers an A+. So great for LA Dodger fans, but bad for the rest of Major League Baseball. So I'm really hoping the owners, I'm going to say this, I'm hoping the owners lock the players out for at least a year or even 2 years. And we got to make some kind of better economic balance and budget here for Major League Baseball. I don't even know how the average fan can take themselves and their wives and their kids to a baseball game nowadays too. So it's just getting out of hand. So that's my thoughts as well. Tarek Skudrow had a great career in Detroit, but unfortunately the Tigers didn't want to pay him $400 million and they got 3 prospects from the Dodgers. So I think the Dodgers already won that trade. So that's my thoughts on it as well. That's about it, guys, for today. I've had a really busy weekend, and I want to say thank you to everyone for watching and listening to the show. And of course, my guests the last couple days, Carlene Lee and Brandi, Benson, for coming on here again. So make sure you check me out Monday, August 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern with special guest Meredith Otero, a marketing strategist, writer, speaker, and business development leader on our show. And after Monday's show, I will have announcements for more guests coming up as well. I am going to take probably 1 week off the middle of August. I have not really taken much time off since I started doing this 7 years ago. So I am probably going to take off a full week and take a little bit of a break as well. But 744 episodes, and I love doing this show. And again, I'm very fortunate. So thank you to Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. Thank you to everyone watching this show live stream and on my audio platforms as well. And make sure you follow me on YouTube. Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show on YouTube. Subscribe, like, and share, and check out my YouTube shorts as well. And my website, beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme, if you'd like to check out more of my media work and some of my best interviews as well. I hope everybody has a great afternoon. And for those here in Canada and Ontario, a happy civic holiday on Monday, August 3rd, which is here tomorrow as well. A lot of people will be working, but a lot of people will be off as it's a civic holiday. So that's about it. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, your long weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday night at 8 o'clock for another edition of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership and hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme. Have a great day, everybody, and thanks again for watching and listening to this show. Was Brandi Benson my guest today?